So here we are, Sunday live stream with Chile Expat Family chat and Chile Expat Family YouTube channel. Let's see. We got 3 people in the room. 2 thumbs up. Thank you very much. Michael Trump 5981 here in North Dakota waiting. I'm here, buddy. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please, 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 I beg you, chime in so I know that I'm not just talking to a screen. Not that I'm not just talking to a screen, but anyways, into it. Let's get to it. Tonight, is Chile really cheaper than the USA, UK, EU? Is it cheaper? Okay. What is the cost of living comparison uh, uh, for Chile? Okay, how does the cost of living in Chile compare to the USA, the UK, and the EU, and other Latin America countries? I'll throw that in there too. What surprises a lot of foreigners about the real cost of living in Chile? So let's go down that trail. Is Chile cheaper than the USA, UK, or Europe? Okay. My answer, yes and no. Depends on a few things. Where do you live? How much are you living on? What's your location? Expectations. So let's delve a little deeper into that. What am I talking about? Thanks, Sir Casino. Circa Casino. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate letting me know the sound's good for the sound check. Thank you. And this is just a general starting here, but if you have a question for me, ask questions about the topic or not the topic. I don't care. The topic just helps me move it along slowly, okay, or move it along quickly. Some of these, the last one went 2 hours and a half, which is a little long for me to be sitting here talking, smoking my pipe. Where's my lighter? Yes, I'm smoking a pipe. No, I don't smoke. Hi, Oscar in Wisconsin. No, I don't smoke wacky weed or anything. This is Virginia or, yeah, Kentucky Burley, whatever. A good pipe tobacco. Yeah. Okay, so back to our bullet points. So, housing and rent. First of all, are you wanting to rent? Are you wanting to buy real estate? Food and groceries, eating out, utilities, internet and cell phones, healthcare, transportation and cars, fuel, importing or imported products, taxes and hidden costs, rural versus city living. That's a really big one. And Chile compared with other Latin American countries. I'll try to get that at the end. Let's break these down a little bit. Housing and rent. Right now, to give you some estimates, and a family that was here today from our Chile Expat Family chat group. They're members of our group. Okay. I'll give my little commercial on that a little bit in a little while. They're spending, I think, 500,000 pesos. It's about $550 a month in the Campo. The Campo is a countryside. They're renting a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house on an acre. I'm not sure what all that comes with, but I'm sure they're paying utilities. They're paying, and that's probably like 20, 30 bucks a month, something like that. It's very reasonable for these small houses. And this house that they have is comparable in size to my house, living area. Eating out, food and groceries. What do I spend on food and groceries? Once a month, Lori and I and Thomas go to the big city, and we go buy groceries at the La Bodega in Osorno, which is the poor people grocery, which is where we like to go. And we spend between $125 to $250 for a month to 2 months. If it's around Christmas or something like that, we might spend $250 because we're buying, wine, beer, liquor, filet mignon, whatever. We eat really well, okay? Eating out, it can be expensive. If you did not watch the video that I put out yesterday, I went down to Saturday, I went down to Puerto Varas, and there's a restaurant there called Uncle Texas. Raise your hand if you've been to Uncle Texas. Uncle Texas is a Texas style barbecue restaurant. Their play on it. We ordered a platter for 4 people. There was only 3 of us. It would just seem more economic. And we spent with the tip, okay? And I tip really well. I tip more than an average person does. We spent $85, okay? Utilities. For me, my utilities are extremely low. And the reason is I don't have a power bill, and I have a water bill, and I have a sewer bill, and I buy propane once every 4, 5, 6 months, something like that, a cylinder. But I'm solar. I'm off grid. I have my own well, my own septic tank, and I burn firewood to heat my house. What do the other people that I know pay? Oh, $40 a month to $80 a month is average for a 3-bedroom house here. And that depends on what type of heat you have. Another really big thing is what type of washing machine and laundry dryer do you have? If you're using a Gringo style laundry dryer, electric dryer, electricity here is not cheap. They're going to take you and go to the bank with your money, okay? So we learned really quick that I don't have to be in a hurry to get my clothes dry. 30 minutes, an hour is okay for me. So now we hang our clothes out on a clothesline, or we hang our clothes on a line inside the house, which is very common even for wealthy people here in Chile. So that's a way to mitigate that expense, okay? For me, I don't mind doing that. When I first got here to Chile, we rented a house. And we had a power bill for 2 months. It was $840. About floored me. And that was the first power bill we got, actually. And I went to the power company and I said, "What's going on here? You guys are stealing from me." They were extremely rude. I was with a Chilean, a very well-connected Chilean in Puerto Octai, really nice guy. And he's a retired general in the Chilean Air Force. Very nice man. And he said, "Those are the rudest people I've ever run into in my life in Chile," and I'm a Chilean. And basically, the power company, which is SAESA, SAESA, that said SAESA were stealing from me. It was at that point that I realized I never want to be anything other than off grid, because it's a freedom thing for me. Okay, so that's my power outtake, my take on connecting the power. And the other thing is my neighbors are always out of electricity because it's very dirty and it's always going out on these big dairy farms across the street and around me, or all around me. They're always running out of power. And if their cows don't get milked every day, they dry up. And if they dry up, they're talking multi-million-dollar businesses out of business. So they all have backup generators and backups to their backup generators. So anyways, hello to 11 people that are here. Thank you for the 3 thumbs up, and thank you for being subscribed. If you're commenting, I appreciate that. If you're in the group and you haven't said something, please check in, say hello. I'll do a little shout out to you. I love it. And please give me questions. I love your questions, okay? So back to our question about the economics and how does it compare to the USA and other countries, okay? So we got down to utilities. We got power, internet, and cell phones. I pay, for internet, I pay $50 a month for Elon Musk's service, Starlink. That's what I'm talking to you on right now. Starlink. Personally, I love Starlink. It's the most dependable internet I've ever owned in my life, even in the United States. And I was on fiber optic there at one point. This is more dependable than that even. Cell phones. Lori Thomas and I each have a smartphone. It costs us $50 a month for all three of those combined. So that is expensive for here, actually, in Chile, but I don't think it would be expensive for the United States. That is a pretty good plan for each phone, too. We never run out of minutes or data or anything like that. Eating out. I talked about that, but for us, we only go out to eat maybe one time a month, and that's when we're on our grocery shopping trip, and we treat ourselves to a burger out or maybe even Papa John's, okay? And then once every blue moon, like yesterday, we go to a fancy schmancy restaurant. If it's Lori's and my anniversary, my wife's birthday, Thomas' birthday, we might go to a really fancy restaurant. We're going to spend $110 for a big old Hocken steak with bread and wine and dessert and cappuccino and a nice whiskey sour and the works. Veggies, it's really good. Okay, healthcare. Healthcare is extremely cheap in Chile. Chileans don't think it is because it's an economy of scale, but compared to the United States, it's extremely cheap. In the UK, they have national health care just like we do here, but we have a graduated plan here where it's based on what your household income is, whether your level of qualification for the government programs, and then so you can pay all the way down to nothing, all the way up to like 90%. The grand thing is that you could go to a private healthcare clinic and just go cash out of the hand. So what are some examples? Like a visit to a specialist like a urologist I saw a urologist and me, it was $16. I was there 30 minutes talking with him. It wasn't 5 seconds, get out of my office. Pay me and get out of my office. That's what it wasn't about that. To get an MRI, I had 3 MRIs here, 2 regular ones and 1 with contrast, all in the same sitting. I was there 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and it cost me I think either $168 or $138. I can't remember, but that's what it ran. I have a friend that went. That's in the private clinic, not the public. I went to the public; it'd be free. I have a friend. They had a baby recently. They paid out of the pocket and the wife stayed in the hospital in a private room for. She was like 4 or 5 days there, which is unbelievable, and it was $4,000. Yeah. So let's see here. Okay. So we got Oscar's checked in and Michael checked in. Got 6 people in the room. So thank you again for being here. And if you comment, I would appreciate it. Yeah, let's see here. Transportation and cars. Cars in Chile cost 40% more than they do in the US. I can't really give you a comparison so much to the EU and the UK, but I imagine it's probably the same. Why is that? Because they're importing their cars, and they only import new cars. You can't bring a used car into Chile, and they charge you 20%, 26% on that new car to be brought in. 19% plus all these other silly fees that they don't call taxes, which are actually taxes. Fuel is expensive here. I just filled the car up yesterday. It was we'll say $24 in that range, and that's 93 octane is what I filled it up in my Toyota. Imported products. Anything you import is going to be 26% more expensive than the US. Okay, and that's just because of their tax thing, which is called EVA, and that's the next subject. Taxes and hidden costs. There's taxes on everything that you buy because we have a VAT tax, VAT, or they call it IVA. And EVA is 19% in Chile, and it funds pretty much everything that goes on in this country is EVA. Rural. So you look at those, the taxes, it's not a hidden cost because everybody pays for that. They do have a graduated income tax up to, I think, 32%. Okay. Let's see. Compared to other Latin American countries, I think Chile may be on the higher end, but we're a more modern country. We're not third world. We have a lot more infrastructure than most of the other countries do. Fiber optic is everywhere in this country. It's only 6 kilometers away from me. They just won't come down my road. I wouldn't connect to it anyways because I like my Starlink. Um, could you live in Chile for less money than when you live now? And would you be willing to change your lifestyle to do it? Yeah, well, ask yourself that, guys. Are you all out there? Would you be willing to do that? Would you be willing to leave where you are now and for less money than where you live now? Would you be willing to change your lifestyle to do it? What do I mean, change your lifestyle? Well, you have to understand there's some things in Chile that are not common and you would not see in the U.S. What am I talking about? The biggest thing that sticks out in my mind is fast food. My son, for instance, they eat out every night. I mean, or they call out they have delivery every other night. They still cook their own food, but it's not uncommon when we're visiting him for him to run out and go buy breakfast at McDonald's or wherever for everybody, or a biscuit shop, which is cool. I mean, that's nice. We don't have that here. It's probably good that we don't have that because it makes us healthier as well. So raise your hand if you eat out every night. Is still diesel, Michael Trump, is diesel still cheaper than gas? Yes, it is. Is there a Chinese brand that you like? I have driven several Chinese vehicles. One was an MG or MGB, whatever they call them, MG now. And the other one was a Maxus. And actually I drove another Chinese vehicle like 2 weeks ago, a rental car, a friend of ours, I was driving it. And I didn't like any of them. They I don't know, maybe I'm biased. They just came over as really chintzy and cheap. Things were breaking on the inside. It's kind of like a Chevrolet or a Ford. You buy it and things break on it right away. I don't like that. I'm a big Toyota fan. Okay, so for me, Toyota is the way to go. The Chinese are really big here in the market in Chile, really big. Thomas was commenting yesterday that we don't see any Russian make vehicles here. I can't remember what they're called. If anybody knows what the Russian ones are called, put it in the comments. I'd be interested. But yes, diesel is cheaper. It's about 30%, sometimes 40% cheaper than gasoline. And what's interesting is when I remember when I was a kid back in the 70s, that diesel was cheaper in the United States the same way. And then they caught on and they changed it around because people started buying Mercedes so they didn't have to buy gasoline. Yeah. If you move to Chile, buy a diesel vehicle. They're very common. Even little vehicles here. Trucks are, Toyotas are here. They're all, a lot of them are diesel. Mine is gas. So my Toyota, I have a Toyota Prado 2007. It is gasoline. Okay. One of the bad things I didn't do, I wish I had done, was buy diesel, and I didn't. Next question. Is Chile cheap? Chile is generally much less expensive than the United States, the UK, many Western European countries. But it's not necessarily cheap to the rest of compared to the rest of Latin America. I will say that meat was significantly cheaper in Uruguay when I was there. Uh, uh, Uruguay now is caught up to us, is what I'm seeing statistically here, doing some research. This also, the expenses change drastically with where you live. If you live in Santiago, you're going to pay a whole lot more. And that's real important when you're coming here as an immigrant. Why is that important? Because you want to provide or prove to the Chilean government that you are not going to be a burden, a financial burden on the people of Chile when you immigrate. That's a big thing that they want to know. Okay. If it costs more to live in Santiago, you're going to have a higher income, monthly income, than you do, like me out here in the countryside, not relying on anybody, not using any services. I can live a lot cheaper, and I'm growing my own food. But they really realize that's awfully typical as well. Probably the biggest conversation is housing. How much are you paying for rent or a mortgage where you live right now? I'd be real curious what some people are paying. If you don't mind saying what you're paying, put it in the comments. I'd be real curious. And I'm gonna wait till some people put in, and then I'll tell you what my mortgage is. Okay. We already talked about rent. I have a friend in Santiago. I saw him 2 weeks ago when I was visiting Santiago. He pays 2,000 a month for a two-bedroom apartment there, with a kitchen and a living room, and that's furnished. Portavares, Pucón, Frutillar, tourist areas are kind of going to be running the same price range. Okay. And those are really like the big time tourist towns. Portavares, big time tourist town. Pucón, they got you just tattoo gringo on your forehead if you're from the EU or the US or wherever. They're going to charge you. They already know that. Okay. That's where all the gringos go. That's why I don't really like going there, because I don't want to be around gringos with their luggage. Frutillar, maybe not so much, but it has two lower section, yes. Portavares for sure. Yeah, so they're going to be a little more expensive. But if you get away from there, like right down the road from me, they're paying $500 a month for a three-bedroom house, and it's a newer house. Uh, the difference between renting an apartment and renting a house here, oh, you get a lot. You get a driveway, you get privacy, you get more security, I think, and peace of mind with renting a house on a piece of land out in the campo, as opposed to being in an apartment. They call apartments departamentos here, departments. Rural properties, potentially cheaper land, but you have roads that are gravel sometimes, wells, septic systems, heating and internet and maintenance and transport. All those things you got to take into consideration. For me, that's a win-win for me, because I already know how to do all that. I know how to survive around that. So I'd much rather be out in the countryside and left alone, but that's the redneck in me. So buying a house may look inexpensive compared with California or London or parts of Europe, but construction and development costs may surprise you. They can surprise you. It depends on where you are. I've got a seller right now in our group, and they have property for sale on an island. I got another guy. He's got a whole island for sale. I got another guy that has a property for sale down near Coyhaique. That's 2-3 days south of me, and it's on a lake. But you have to take a boat to be able to get to the property, and there's no power or anything there. You got to create that. For me, creating that infrastructure was not a big deal. It's not cheap. It's not extremely expensive, but I had access to my property, which is real important. So I didn't have to take a boat, and that would raise everything by, let's say, 25%. Okay. Circasino says Russian brands are Lada. Yeah, Thomas was telling me Lada. UAZ is the other one. Yep. And let's see. Yeah, I don't do Russian either. And Michael Trump says he's paying $1,300 a month. How much? What is that for, Michael? You getting how many bedrooms and baths? There's the big question. Yeah. So let's go on. Groceries. Before we get into groceries, I want to give you a word from our sponsor. That would be me. I'm Jim Dorchak with Chile Expat Family Chat Group and Chile Expat Family YouTube channel. We run relocation services to inform people about Chile and the lifestyle here, and we help answer their questions so they can make, or you can make, informed decisions about whether Chile's right or wrong for you. What is the chat group about? Well, the chat group is there to answer your questions in a forum, a format where everybody can see your question, which sounds bad, but it's not bad because you're going to see questions you didn't think of asking that people are going to be asking. You're going to get their answers. But not only that, in my chat group, I actually have 2 attorneys, a doctor, a dentist, 2 mechanics, a solar guy, a shipping company, 2 accountants, USA and Chilean accountant. I have 2 builders, 3 real estate agents, and I'm one of those agents. And did I say the solar guy? The solar guy. That's 4 bedrooms and 2 baths, but that's pretty good, man. That's an oil field. Everything's very expensive. Okay, $1,300. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's I don't know if I would call that expensive up there. Actually, Michael, I would think it is. Estermo, hi Jim, tuning in from Illinois. Hello, hello. Good to hear from you. Sorry about you guys up there being in the heat. We're never in the heat here, by the way. I don't even have air. I can't even spell air conditioning anymore. Okay. How much is the ferry to Chiloé Island? It's about $40 for a car, if I remember correctly. Yeah. They are building a bridge over to Chiloé Islands called the Chacao Bridge, which is a bird that goes. That's the sound it makes. I love imitating it because it'll yell back, it'll whistle back at you if he thinks you're another Chacao. But that's the new bridge. It's like the Golden Gate Bridge. It's really that big too. It's a super duper big bridge construction project that's being done by the Koreans, and it was being in concert with a Brazilian company. The Brazilian company went up belly up, which is everybody saw that coming. And so it's put a little delay in the project, but it's continuing. So thank you for being here. 11 people in the room, 5 thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you want to get in touch with me and you want me to consult with your ask me questions or join our group, Chile Expat Family Chat Group, which right now has 131 members in it, you can get me, and I'll put it here in this the amp or the @ sign, Jim Dorchak, in Telegram. Okay, Telegram is free. It's secure. That's why we're there. It's not WhatsApp. WhatsApp is not very secure. 13 people there. If you're just checking into the video live stream, say hello. I'll say hello back. I love that. It's really cool. You're somewhere else on the planet and we're actually communicating. You know, there's a really cool thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but YouTube now will let me respond to your comments on my videos with a voice response. And one day when we grow up, YouTube will let me do live streams where you actually can send a voice into me. You could send a voice into me. I'm hoping that would be really cool. Probably hard to moderate, but it'd be really cool. So back to our question, the economy, is it cheaper to live in Chile? Groceries, we're down to number 3. Chile is cheaper until you want to import products. You want to go buy expensive stuff that's made like Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, you're going to pay for it. Okay. If you want to buy, and the thing is Chileans don't have some knockoffs, but there's some things that I'm willing to pay a little more for. So a bottle of Tabasco sauce I'll buy. And when I see one bottle of Tabasco sauce there, I'm not buying one. I'm buying 3 or 4 or 5 bottles because they might not be there tomorrow for another 2 months. And if you ask them, they say, "Oh, no, we've never carried Tabasco sauce." I said, "You know, this bottle right here, I bought it here." And, oh, okay. So you see things, lesson learned there. Take it from me or learn later. When you see something you want, buy it, especially in the grocery. Things that are relatively affordable, local fruits and veggies, especially seasonal products. Well, here's a really good example. A seasonal product would be lemons. So in the summertime, lemons are expensive. In the wintertime, they're cheap here. So we buy a 35 kilo sack of lemons for $8. In the summer, they're $24. We buy 2 or 3 sacks of those, and Lori and I spend days juicing them and putting them in bubbly water or drink bottles, plastic jugs, and putting them in the freezer. And then in the summertime, we have lemonade, and it's like almost free. Chilean wine is very inexpensive. Uh, Local produced meat is very inexpensive. We grow a good bit of our own meat, but it's still not cheap. Yesterday, I bought a big slab of bacon at Nuevo Brano. It's Cecinas Nuevo Brano. Cecinas means cured meats, and it's a butcher shop. They have the best bacon in Chile, and I paid $32. So it's like $6 a pound is what it ended up being. Okay. Seafood. I can buy seafood cheaply. Now, this is really interesting. Tell me how much you pay for salmon. I'm curious what you're paying for salmon. Oh, and I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Let me catch up here because Michael Trump told me he paid $1,300 a month for rent or mortgage, one of the two. I pay zero, because I could move here and build my own house with my own hands. And I made a commitment that I would come here and not be ever a slave to a bank again. Okay. So that's how I get away with paying. But what about homeowners insurance? I talk with God. I don't have homeowners insurance. And I say, God, what do I do if my house burns down? I'm not really joking about this either. And he'll help me get another house. He'll help me build my own house again. Okay. It'll take some time. There'll be some pain involved, but I'll never owe money to a bank again in my life. Never. Okay. That's just me. It's a freedom thing. My car, I have no insurance on my car. If Thomas wrecks my car, God forbid, because he just is getting his license, then I'll have to just find a way to buy another car, one of the two. Okay. Nothing better than homemade barbecue sauce. Yes. And I make my own homemade barbecue sauce, Goldfish 2289. Actually, when we were at the barbecue joint, Uncle Texas, last night, they heard of my barbecue sauce and they want to buy it from me because they're currently importing barrels or buckets, I don't know, barbecue sauce from the United States, which they're paying out the nose. Okay. Leader carrying more products from the U.S. Yes, they are. Leader is a grocery store chain here, which is owned by Walmart. They have great value products there, the Walmart products, the little dropping prices, it's Walmart. Okay. Salmon, $12.99 a pound in Michigan. Goldfish, bless your little heart. I'm telling you, give me a guess what you think I pay for fresh salmon. Still flopping on the cutting board. Tell me what you think before I spill the beans there. Thank you to the 12 people that are here, and thank you for the 6 thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you've not checked in, say hello in the comments. I appreciate it. I pay $3 a pound. Yeah. And it's delivered to my house. It's a fisherman I know. He just comes here. Yeah. I got friends that are into fishing. When I go put a fishing pole and a string in the hook in the water, the fish run away. So I've got real expensive, like when I was a young man, I used to fish a lot. I never caught anything. And I brought all that with me, and Thomas, I can't catch a fish if it jumped in the boat with me. So yeah, that is a really good price, isn't it? I mean, sometimes they're only about, I don't know, 4 or 5 pounds, and sometimes they're like 14 pounds. Okay. They're huge. So it depends on what he has. And just pay me $3 a kilo. And I tell you, they're fresh. They're still fresh. It's really nice. For, I think it's $85 in the wintertime, when it's fishing season here, I can go and catch a cooler load. I could fill my freezer with salmon for $85. Yeah, you could eat salmon every day. Yeah, well, it's good, but they have other fish here. They have one called congareel. They have one called congareel and salmon congareel and merluce. The congareel and merluce are white, little more cod or haddock type fish, and actually I like them for frying. I really like that. Lori likes the salmon. I find salmon. I like salmon. I just find it a little drier fish. Love fish sounds amazing there. Yes, it is, Estermo. It is. It is very nice. Um, uh, if you get to the coast, especially down in Porto Montt, you can go to Angel Mo, Ancomo, and they have a fish market there, and they're selling crab, they're selling barnacles, they're selling crab claws, they're selling squid, they're selling everything down there. Uh, Bluegill, yeah, we don't have bluegills. We're cooler here. I think that has a lot to do with it. Maybe in the north of Chile they do, but here it's salmon, it's congareel, it's merluce is what they are, and they're all the salmon is the most expensive. So if I go and buy the other ones, I'm paying actually more for that than I pay for fresh salmon. Local fruits and veggies. I already talked about that, but I want to expound on it a little bit. We actually go to an open market. It's a wholesale market where you don't buy per pound or per kilo. You're buying a whole sack of something. So we'll go buy a sack of potatoes, which is like $4 to $8 for 35 kilos. We'll buy a case of grapefruit, and that's like, I don't know, $14. We'll buy a case, the lemons I told you are like $8, $6, $4, depends on what deal we get. We'll buy carrots; those are like $8 for 35 kilos, and they're big carrots. They're like in the movies big. So onions, we'll buy that every month. Onions and potatoes we buy every month. We like fries. We make our own fries. Things that can become expensive: imported American and British products. If you have to have your Nutella, which is here all over the place, or your specific U.S. brands of things, you're gonna spend a lot more money. There are some specialty foods like Tabasco sauce. I already talked about that. M&Ms, they have those here. Uh, some U.S. like pinwheel cookies. Sometimes they have them here in Walmart. They don't, or Leader. The big thing that they don't have varieties. They have cheese, and in Chile, all cheese looks like every other cheese. Yeah, go light my pipe. But which is not good considering we're in the dairy capital of the South, where I live. Huge dairy farms around me, multi-bazillion dollar businesses here. They don't have a lot of cheddar cheese. They don't have brie. They don't have Gouda. They don't have provolone. They don't have mozzarella. Before you get your stuff in a craw there, Chileans that are listening, yeah, you can get it, but in the U.S., it's everywhere. You can get big hunks of cheddar cheese. They are becoming more common, okay? But when we first got here, we go a year without seeing cheddar cheese, okay? Peanut butter, barbecue sauces, cereals. No, that's changing the cereals. Other familiar brands you're going to pay for. They have Kellogg's here. They have Nestle's here, which we despise Nestle's. Nestle's right up there with Satan's grocery Satan's little store of let's poison you to death. Their ice cream is absolutely horrendous. It's just got air and chemicals in it. It's just phenomenally nasty. Chileans love good ice cream, and they've been really taken advantage of for years. And there are really a lot of these small boutique shops that are making ice cream here now. And we've been going to those, and it's really good. Not real expensive either. Okay. Beef is $10 a pound. I think that's about what we're paying, depending on what you're buying. Okay. And filet mignon is going to be probably $13 to $14 a pound if I buy a big loin. Okay. And it's getting hard to justify. Nah, man, we do it all day long here. In all fairness, we grow our own beef, we grow our own pork, we grow our own chicken, we grow our own rabbits. We're eating and sheep. We do about 8 sheep a year. So 6 hogs, 8 sheep, 3 steers a year. Tabasco sauce is one of the three rings things you just have. That's right, it is. It's got that little je ne sais quoi, that little flavor to it that you can't find anywhere else. Goldfish, yeah. So we got some people that are commenting a lot, but I got 15 people in the room. If you haven't commented yet, throw a comment in there. Ask me a question. It doesn't have to be on topic. I don't care. I'm here to answer your questions, okay? So we went over the things that can be expensive. I left out here peanut butter. We make our own peanut butter, or we buy it from another Ringo family. Their son does it. Our Thomas used to make peanut butter here, and he kind of turned the hand over to our friend's son. Electronics are expensive in Chile. Imported goods expensive. Yeah, they've come down a good bit. You can also, find bacon in Chile, but a lot of times the bacon is tocino. They'll call bacon, it's got bones in it. So it's like smoked ribs is what it is. It's dried like bacon. It's just not the same. You can live cheaply in the US unless you insist on living exactly like you live in the United States or the UK. I'm not sure I agree with that entirely. I live a lot better than I ever did in the US or the UK. My big thing for people moving here is don't you have to come here and liquidate everything. It's a fact, okay? If you come here and liquidate everything, then don't come with and get a mortgage, okay? Have you tried Starlink internet? Goldfish, I'm trying it right now. How's it sound? I've had it for 4 years. It cost me $50 a month, okay? Michael Trump, Thomas needs to practice answering questions. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Circasino, is lamb wildly available? Yeah, it is, really is. We had lamb today, actually. We had lamb with noodles almondine and green beans from our garden. Our lamb was from our farm. The noodles weren't from our farm. We had something else with that too. Sauces with it. I made a nice butter and garlic lamb. I marinated it or whatever at the end, and I basted it. That's what I'm looking for. And then beans. Yeah, it was a really good meal today. Our Sunday meals we always have really good. It's perfect. You use it too. Yeah, good man. I like my Starlink, and I like the things that Elon Musk has done with freedom of speech. I think that's light years. We have 18 people in the room. Thank you for being here. If you haven't said hello in the comments, please do so and say hello. I'll shout out to you. I love having people ask questions. And again, ask questions. Okay. Heating, a cost people underestimate. Yeah, it is. A lot of people don't know where Chile is. Okay. They admit it. You don't know where it really is. We're just north of Antarctica. Okay. Is the way I like to think of it. Why do I say that? Well, because it's cool here in the summer and it's cool here in the winter. It's like Connecticut here in the summertime, pretty much. Only cooler than even Connecticut. All right. and the winters are wet and cool. We don't get a lot of snow where I'm at. Further south, they get mountains of snow. And actually, further north of me, they're getting mountains of snow too. I don't get a lot of snow in my little area, okay? If you get a cheap rental house, it can become expensive because usually they're poorly insulated. Chileans are not really good at construction, in my humble opinion. And if you're Chilean, you can argue with that. That's fine. Argue all day long. But you need to go to the United States or to the EU and see how they insulate there. I have really good friends that wear their coat inside their house all day long during the wintertime. I don't know how they take a shower with their coat on, but anyhow. What does firewood cost? That's what I heat my house with is firewood. A square meter is $45 for the top grade. That would be like an oak, okay? They do have pellets and pellet stoves here. I don't like pellet stoves per se because I don't like pellets. During COVID, you couldn't get pellets. I could still go down in the woods and get firewood, okay? Propane, very few people heat with propane or electricity because it's just so expensive. You do see some kerosene heaters here, but you aren't seeing that a lot. Like you'll go to the barber shop and they'll have a propane heater in there, a little space heater. The difference between properly insulated house with thermopane windows and poorly built houses is a real problem. So, and that's why most of my people that I work with that have moved here, they built their own house, no questions, and they're really happy they did. They do have spray foam here. They have rock wool here. They have fiberglass insulation. The one that I really like that they have that's economical is it's nylon. It's like a batting that you would see. My wife has actually used this batting in quilts, okay? So would you rather pay 850,000 pesos a month or $850 a month for a well-insulated house or 600,000 pesos for a house where you're freezing your butt off all winter and the kids are walking around frozen to the floor? It's right to the cost of living there. You really know, okay, and we actually have a German family here that had this problem. They're in Pucon, and they were renting, and they said, look, we can't rent from you anymore because this wood stove, and it was a good wood stove, but they didn't have enough, wasn't putting out enough BTUs, and it's so poorly insulated. So let's see here. Rob Gerano 422. One of the big differences between the U.S. and Chile is that Chile, you have options. You own your own house, your own car, and you're forced to keep insurance. I'm not forced to keep insurance in Chile. I don't have insurance. One of the big differences between U.S. and Chile is that in Chile, you have options. You own your own house, your own car, and you are forced to keep insurance. I don't have insurance. No, I'm not forced to do that. I do own my own car outright. Yeah, I own my house outright too. If you have a mortgage, they're going to make you get insurance. Yeah, for sure. You're going to have mortgage insurance plus hazard insurance in case the house burns down so the bank is cleared from that debt. So, okay, Goldfish has a side question. Do you have any venomous creatures or poisonous ones? We have spiders in like brown recluse and black widows. Those are here. Snakes. There are 6 snakes in South Carolina. There are 6 snakes in Chile, and only one where I live, and it's not venomous. The other ones are mildly. They're not really venomous. They're not a problem. There are not a lot of snakes here. Okay, and since you're asking, I'm going to tell you, Goldfish, there's no poison ivy or poison oak here, which is like, yay, because you can go roll around in the woods and not got sick. 19446, Goldfish, you need to try ají diagtas, my favorite chili sauce. Oh, yeah. Ají, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's good. I like it. It's like I'm trying to I want to say Merken. It's made from that. It's from Chili's. Circa Casino. If I buy a car in Chile as a tourist, you can. Yes, you can. Can I freely cross the border lines back and forth, or it's just neighboring countries allowed? If you buy it in Chile, you can go out of Chile and come back in with it. Okay, that's not a problem. You have to have insurance to go. I know in Argentina, I haven't tried into the northern countries, and the reason why is they had Argentinians coming over here and totaling people's cars and going back across the border. So they don't like that. Goldfish. I am looking it up now. Okay, let's see what he's saying there. Yeah, ahi. That's really good. Okay, goldfish. We have brown recluse and black widows here. Yes, we do. Woodpile. Got 'em, man. I had one crawling on me the other day. I was like, oh yeah. So, I mean, that's not a problem that I wasn't experiencing in South Carolina, is what that comes to. Yeah. So, again, 20 people in the room. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. If you just come in the room and give me a shout out, say hello, tell us where you're from, ask a question. It doesn't have to be on the topic of comparison, and I'll do my best to answer it, okay? Healthcare, major comparison in the USA. Private health versus public system. Okay, there's a painful thing, guys. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna admit it. I confess. I like national health care, but I like a blended system that has private option as well. And Chile has that. So you can use the national health care system, or you can go outside the national health care system to a private hospital, and they'll pay a large percentage of that. In my case, they pay 85%. I love that. It's nice. Either way, I'm going to get taken care of. If I want to get taken care of really fast, just to be perfectly honest, I go to the private. A lot of times for me, it's just easier for me to go to the private, so I do. But there are some really cool things in Chile that they have for families. For instance, our son Thomas has braces, and when you get here, they get you into the Chilean system, and they said, "Hey, Thomas, he needs to have braces." And we'll say, "Yeah, we don't have the money." And no, Chile wants him to have braces, and they put braces on him, and they pay for it. And that's really nice. Yeah. Goldfish, thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. It does help the algorithm. Why am I being so pushy about that? Because my son Thomas is trying to take over my channel. So he's been in charge of doing all the video and all the editing. And now he tells me, he says, "I'm the director. You're just the actor. You do what I tell you to do." I was like, "Yes, son. Okay, whatever. I love you too." But that's why I'm trying to up my counts and all. Do you have trouble with bunny rabbits eating your greens? They're killing my Brussels sprouts. No, because I have a bell. Have you got a bell, goldfish? You need to get you a bell. It's a black and white border collie, and the bunnies stay away. Plus we have a lot of foxes, but we do have a lot of what do they call them? Libres here. And there's another word for it. It's not conejo. Conejo is rabbit. A wild rabbit is a libre. We have a lot of them. They're a problem. They eat a lot of stuff here. A lot of the farmers here don't like them, and they'll blast them with their rifle or shotgun. You'll see them out there blasting them. 17 people in the room. Please speak up. Say hello. Tell me where you're from. So we already went to private healthcare versus public. I love the blended system they have of a private system and a public system. You can take advantage of both of them or either one, and you're paying out of the pocket with the private. You can get private health insurance to supplement your payments if you want. Something really cool here is insurance is relatively cheap. I don't know if that's going to last forever. It'll probably catch up like everything else. But health insurance is cheap. Automobile insurance, cheap. Yeah, house insurance, I think that's pretty cheap. I just don't get it because I don't like insurance companies as a general rule. Why is it so cheap? Well, I'm glad you asked. No rabbits here. Yeah. Oh, okay. Where are you at? I got rabbits all over the place. Libres. And I have conejos in my pen out there. Yeah. So that's a Marie 4 MRR. I don't know if you're here in Chile because it was in Spanish, but I have Libres. Yep. Um, okay, so I missed that. Hold on a second. I lost my train of thought. Hold on one second. Insurance. Why is insurance so much cheaper? All insurance. You know, in the United States, when you wreck your car, and everybody's wrecked their car, fess up. If you've not wrecked your car, I want you to comment and think, I never had an accident. Oh, yes, you have. Everybody here has been in an accident somehow. When you go there, you say to the guy, can you help me eat up my deductible? And they'll be like, yeah, we're not supposed to talk about that, but we'll do it. Here, they don't play that game. Their deductible is, they don't care what it is. And usually, when I first got here, I bought automobile insurance. The deductible was like, oh, I don't know, it's like $200. I said, I don't want this high up. I don't want to pay $1,000 for years. Right after I got here, and can I get a higher deductible? I said, no, we have one deductible. It's like $300. I was like, okay. So you go here, and it's not a game. There's actually market forces at work with the auto repair shops. There's actually market forces at work with the medical field. So, like, my daughter went to the emergency room for a flu in the U.S., and it was $3,600, and she was there 13 hours. Here it would be, like, I don't know, $21, $24, something like that. And that $24 would include the doctor and any medication they sent you home with. Okay, so if you're still sitting in your chair after I told you that, you'll see that that totally offsets a lot of other expenses that you have in the U.S. So, Abner Z 7373. Hello from Orlando. My uncle lives in Orlando. Mark Schmitter. Is it really worth buying a parcela in a condominium? Well, it depends on where it is. I wouldn't. That's me. It seems like they are all over the place. I would like to avoid the HOA. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. I live on a terreno, which is like a more than a lot. The smallest lot you can have in Chile is 5,000 square meters, which is about 1 acre. Okay. There's 2.47 acres in a hectare. All right. Just throwing some numbers out there. And there's all types of lots around me within 30 minutes drive. And I've only showed lots to 2 of my Chile Expat Family chat members in 13 years. Yeah. The rest of them have bought 6 hectares, 40 hectares, 10 hectares, and so on, because they don't want neighbors right on top of them. First of all, they want their privacy. There's no HOA. They can do whatever way they want on their property. So, okay, Goldfish says, I had an accident when I was young. I hit a deer so hard it pooped all the way down my. Yeah, and it was a lot of poop too. I bet it was. Yeah, yeah. And I bet it was expensive to fix playing that game. So, yeah. So, thank you for being here, the 13 people. Thank you for the 11 thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. Back to our bullet point questions. Health insurance. Doctor visits and specialists are significantly cheaper here. I don't think you could go to see a cardiologist or a urologist or a neurologist or an eye doctor for less than $75. And I paid $75 to go have my eyes looked at and get a prescription, make sure I'm not going blind or crazy. And that was real expensive. And that was a standalone doctor, we're not associated with any hospital. Would they be like $450 in the US now? Probably. So they're really, really cheaper here. Cheaper doesn't automatically mean simpler. You need to understand the Chilean system, okay? So our healthcare is really pretty good. I used to, when I was back in South Carolina, I worked a contract for the government where I appraised all their hospitals in South Carolina. and I appraised hospital equipment, and the same equipment they had in the U.S. we have here in Chile. They're not behind the times, okay? Deer in Michigan are everywhere. Yeah, 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 yeah. We don't have a lot of deer where I am. They have mules here, and mule deer, mules they call them, and they have red deer, which have been imported. We have wild boar. We have pumas. Yeah, there's a lot. But I remember back in South Carolina, we used to fill our freezer with deer. It was the way we kept ourselves, fed in the wintertime, to say the least. Yeah. Okay. Cars and transportation. Uh, Vehicles can be expensive here, 40 to 60% more expensive. They hold on to a car forever. I do too. The U.S. and the EU and the UK are throwaway economies. You drive your car for 3 to 5 years and you get a new one. That's just the way it was. I used to do that. I had to. Here, they fix it every year. They fix it. Yeah, they'll spend, I don't know, $600-800 on it a year, and they own it outright, so they aren't making payments. So fixing it is kind of like a payment. And I do the same thing. So like it cost me $1,000 to replace all the bushings on my car and the shock absorbers and all that. My engine got tired. I just had it rebuilt and put back in. So that's the way we treat it here. Their fuel costs are higher. Gasoline's more expensive here for sure. Insurance, I can't speak to that. I actually have to go get a quote for Thomas for insurance. Lori wants insurance while Thomas is driving. She's going to make him pay for it. Maintenance, we do a lot of our own maintenance. Thomas does. He loves doing that, changing the oil. He's always improving things. Registration and permits. Okay, you have to have three things to drive your car legally, three documents here in Chile. You have to have permiso de circulación, that's your taxes. You have to have revision technica, that is an inspection to see if it's roadworthy. And you have to have something called SOAP. And SOAP basically is a tax for uninsured motorists for the government. And hey, Doug. Okay. So when you sorry, I got distracted. So I do all my. You just repair your car. You don't throw it away every 3 to 5 years. Okay. And you see a lot of older cars that are. Could not. I got somebody texting me in two places. That's actually in. Hey, Doug, he's in there. So you know who you are. So I do the repairs myself, or Thomas does, and we just keep driving our car and keep it like new, and then you don't have to get a new car. You know those stupid little plastic things that break? We just get a new one and install it. Yeah. Have your son gotten into 3D printing? No, he wants to. Well, I want to, and he's look. Goldfish, I could go buy it for him, right? But I ain't gonna do that. If he wants it, he's 18 now. He's got to want it, and wanting it means he's got to make the money for it. Right now, he is in the I want to buy a truck, like a Toyota or a Nissan little four-door, four-wheel drive truck, so he can do work, and that's the big thing. Electric cars around, yeah, they're just getting here right now. I don't know what a UTV is, by the way. That's a phrase I've never heard of. Estermo. And then we have, man, my vision's good. Summit Cal 007. Great watching your channel. How much does land cost in the south of Chile? I know it can vary. Yeah, it depends on where location, that sort of thing. 5,000 square. What's a lot cost? That's what you're asking me. Okay. The smallest lot here is 5,000 square meters that you can have by law in Chile. You're allowed to make them smaller than that. So 1 acre, 1.02 acres actually, to be technical. You can get a lot within 30 minutes of where I live, 5,000 square meters for $25,000. We'll say $28,000. I'm selling land 3 to 10 hectares for $10,000 an acre, or uh, yeah, and around that range. Okay, eight to we'll say $14,000 an acre. So I had a family I sold some property to. They paid 18 million a hectare, which is like $18,000 a hectare for 42 hectares. So that's like 103 acres. They paid $590,000. Okay. uh, Doug says he can't figure out how to chat with me on the live feed. You have to be a subscriber. That's probably why, Doug. I did that. That's Thomas's doing. Yeah. Let's see. So does that answer your question? Summit Cal 007. Um, just to give you some ideas what land's selling for. If you're patient, you can get more than that for less than that, but you have to be patient. 19 people in the room, 15 thumbs up. Thank you. I'm going back to my bullet points. We left off at maintenance, registration, permit. So for me, to register my car cost me this year it was $47, and another, we'll say $15 on it for the other total document. So let's say $60 to drive my car legally in Chile every year. Okay, for all the stuff you have to have. We do have public transportation, especially in Santiago, Tiago. They have subways there. They have buses there. We have buses, and they're really big time here in the Campo, in the countryside. Everybody takes buses. In Osorno and all the cities around me, they have taxi and ride sharing taxis there as well. They're not real expensive. If I'm on one side of Osorno, I want to go to the other side of the Osorno. It's cost me like $2, $3. If you're living rurally, you need to have your own vehicle. Yeah, that is a must, more than likely. Can you actually afford to live cheaply in the countryside if you have to drive everywhere? Yeah, you can. Buy diesel, okay? Internet and utilities. I already discussed it. I don't pay for electricity. I've already got I'm off grid with solar. I'm off grid with water. Propane, I buy a tank every 6 months, 8 months. Firewood's $45 a square meter. Internet's costing me $50 for Starlink. Cell phone is $50 for 3 phones that I pay. Okay. Let's see. Let's discuss the difference between city living and rural living. Utilities are easy, but you have to depend on them. If the power goes out and you're in the city, your butt's going to freeze because they don't insulate those high rises at all. They're just slabs of concrete. Really, they're just poured there. And it's not much better in the Campo, the countryside, either, because Chileans don't know how to insulate. But if you build your own house in the rural, and you can do that really cheaply, it's $120, $130 a square foot to build a house here now. You can do it. Okay. All right. Chile compare with other Latin American countries. Chile versus Argentina. Argentina's prices and economic conditions can be really volatile because their economy is really screwed up. The other side is they're very corrupt over there, and Chile is not corrupt. You don't bribe people to get things done. They just, that's not their jig here. They're really serious about that. Here's a warning. Listen to me now, or you'll listen to me when you're on television and a star in Chile. Do not try to bribe the police in Chile. They will put you on TV doing the perp walk with the handcuffs behind you. They don't care. They don't work that way. In Argentina, they expect you to bribe them, or Mexico or Peru or wherever, but not in Chile, okay? And thanks. Looking forward to it. I've been checking out some portals. Yeah, if you need a good real estate agent, you're looking at one right now. I only work with buyers, and only with buyers from my Chile Expat Family chat group. I charge 3%. Yes, but Chilean agents only charge 2%. Yes, but they only give you 1% worth of work and honesty. And if you want to go throw the honesty in there, it's a 0.5%. I charge 3%. I'm worth every dime of it. I don't work for free. In the United States, I wouldn't walk out the door for less than 3.5. No self-respecting agent would. And if it was commercial, it was going to be 5% or 10 if it was both sides. Yeah. Okay, back to our questions. Chile versus Uruguay. I liked Uruguay's food. It was phenomenal. I was robbed twice when I was there in 10 days. It's more expensive than we are, it says here. We offer lower costs in some categories. I would think so. I think because we in the South, we have so much firewood that it's just cheaper to heat your homes here for sure. Chile versus Peru and Colombia, these countries can be less expensive overall, but their infrastructure, location, healthcare, safety, that's the big one. The safety, climate, bureaucracy, lifestyle, they're corrupt is what they're saying, and they're hot and they're dangerous. And I'm not worried about being here safe, and it's not corrupt. So Chile versus Mexico, this would probably be, yeah. If Mexico is cheaper, why would you choose Chile? Well, there's a good question. Because Mexico is not safe. We actually have people in our Chile Expat Family chat group that are leaving Mexico, moving here, that are Mexicans. That's right. Because they're worried about getting kidnapped. And they're not in a high crime area of Mexico either. I was floored to find that out. Okay, let's see where else we are. We're cooler here. That's the big thing. You don't have air conditioning. You don't have bugs that want to kill you so much other than what we've talked about. You don't have a lot of snakes and stuff that want to bite you and kill you and eat you. You don't have plants that are trying to kill you all the time. Chile is where I am in the South. It's like my Goldilocks zone. Never gets too hot. We don't have air conditioning. The hottest it's ever been in 13 years is one day. And usually we were 70, 72 degrees on the hottest day of the year. And last year it was 91 degrees, about melted. Okay. So that was, but later that night it was 50 degrees. Okay. So the windows are open and there's no screen in the windows because we don't have a lot of mosquitoes where I'm at either. Biggest mistakes foreigners make. Comparing Chile prices only to the exchange rate. Don't do that. Yeah, because you can play it. Okay, it's what I'm trying to tell you. I always try to convert my dollars to pesos when the conversion rate is in my favor. I can't really explain that to you in great detail without some graphics because I hate that whole conversion rate thing anyways. I will say that I do use Wise. If you are not familiar with Wise, hold on, I'm going to send a link here that you can use my link, okay? Wise is a money conversion service, and they help convert your dollars to pesos or pounds to pesos or whatever. And I love Wise because they're very helpful, okay? If you don't know about Wise, there's my link. They'll pay me $50 after you use them for a while, and that's nice, and I'd appreciate it. How much is good heating system, and what would you recommend it? Well, it depends on where you are. Abner's 73. It depends on where you are in Chile. In the north of Chile, they heat with electricity. They heat with heating oil. They heat with propane because they don't have a lot of trees up there. Okay. It's a desert. Down here where I'm at, everybody heats with firewood. $1 million homes have wood boilers on them typically. Our local hospital in Puerto Huacay, it's not really big. It's not a clinic. They actually have a ward there with beds and people spend the night there. They heat with firewood. I heat with firewood. Why do I do that? It's readily available. If the poo-poo hits the fan, I still have heat. Not only do I have heat, I have hot water. If you listen, Abner, if if you've not seen my how to heat water video in Chile, go look at my channel and look in my one of my 700 videos. Look in their hot water, and you'll see it's really cool. It's actually not legal in a lot of the states in the U.S. because they're afraid you're going to hurt yourself. And nanny state won't let you hurt yourself. It's really cool. I use my wood stove. It heats the water. That water goes into a tank where it's stored. It's not generated. It's just stored. And then I send that through the radiant floor heat on the second story of our house. But it also provides hot water to our showers, our kitchen, and our bathrooms. It's phenomenal. It'll make steam in 30 minutes. How much do you figure? Is there anybody in the chat right now that knows what they pay to heat their water? I mean, what's your power bill for heating water? I think it's like 75% of your power bill when you're not running your air conditioner or heat pump is going to be your hot water heater. I don't have a hot water heater per se. I have a wood stove, and whenever I'm cooking, I'm making hot water. Whenever I'm heating the house, I'm still heating hot water. So, lifestyle question. Chile can be very affordable if's always big. You have the income from abroad, specifically like a retirement. You want to be able to prove to the Chilean government you're not going to be a financial burden. Well, income from abroad. Well, I don't have a pension. Well, if you work online, that's one way. Okay, that's cool. If you had a job that you could just say, go back to the U.S. every 6 months. I have people that do that, and they like doing that. If you come here and you have a house in the U.S. that you rent on a long-term lease there, it's not really hard to do. You just get hey, lease my house. Yeah, here, fill this out. Okay, thanks. I'll go get it. No, whoa, that's an income. Okay. It's affordable if you own your own home and land here. Yeah. It's affordable if you adapt to local products, customs, traditions, and their culture. You don't want to come here and I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm above you. That's just really, I don't like that. Chileans really don't like that. It's affordable if you don't need imported goods constantly. Okay. I'm going to talk about things here in a little bit. It's affordable if you're willing to live outside the most expensive areas like Santiago, which is also the biggest high crime area. You live in a city, you push more people in little spaces, they're going to bounce against each other and you're going to have problems, okay? Drugs, crime. It's affordable if you understand how rural living really works. To me, it's freedom. It can be inexpensive if you insist on buying. Is that right? It can be expensive, yeah, if you insist on buying imported products. If you insist on living in an expensive neighborhood, a tourist area, Pucón, yeah, you're going to pay. Villarrica, you're going to pay. Santiago, boy, you're going to pay. La Serena, that's where all the rich Chileans live. You're going to pay. High crime, high crime, high crime. You need a lot of heating. Yeah, you do, unless you insulate your house correctly. It can be expensive if you need to travel all the time. I will say that domestic flights in Chile are very inexpensive. For me to fly to Santiago one way is $50. It's an hour and a half flight. It's a 12-hour drive. It can be expensive if you maintain multiple vehicles. Yeah, nowhere near what it is in the U.S. I'd throw that one out. It can be expensive if you build a large house from scratch. I don't buy that either. It's a lot cheaper here per square foot basis. And I know people have built huge houses and they're not expensive here. I'm talking like 6,000 square foot houses. It can be expensive if you expect everything to work exactly as it did in the US or the USA or the UK or EU. Yes, that is true. All right. So let me talk a little life lesson here. When you come here, you need to develop an idea of freedom, okay? Freedom from debt, freedom to do what you want to do every day. That means that you have to take care of yourself. With with great freedom comes great responsibility. That's why you guys don't have freedom anymore, because you don't have any responsibility anymore in the US or the EU or the UK. They're taking it away from you. Here, that's not the case. If you're in the Campo, you're going to live a lot freer and safer, okay? But you need to think about things. I'm not a thing guy anymore. I like tools. Who knew? Just so I can make stuff that makes my wife happy or grows things or whatever. Those are my things now. So, yeah. And I'm sorry, Ambrose, I didn't answer. How much is a good heating system, and what would you recommend? I recommend wood. You're going to spend $3,000 to $4,000 for a top-end wood stove here, boiler. You can get split systems, the mini splits, the Hitachis or Hyundai, or those little mini split heat pumps. You can get those all day long. That's what they're using in the north of the country, up in Santiago. It's really common because they need air conditioning up there too. I don't have air conditioning. So, all right. Well, we're scooting down to the bottom of the page on the questions. If you could live in Chile for 20, 30, or even 40% less than where you live now, but you had to give up some convenience, I'm asking you in the group, what would you do it, first of all? And second of all, what would that convenience be? Yeah. What is something that you feel like you could give up if you moved here? All right. Fast food. Yeah, I did. I didn't have any problem with that. Although it is fun to go eat a pizza in Osorno every now and then. But now I make my own pizza. Yeah. It's fun to go out to a fancy schmancy restaurant with my wife, but I can still do that here. It's just not every night. Okay. I don't have to have, it's fun to have my Toyota. My son loves working on it, and I don't have to have a new Toyota. I don't have to have the latest, greatest toys. I really enjoy my time with my wife and my kids, my son, number 6, Thomas. And to me, that's more wealth for me than owning things. So I'm not a thing guy. I don't have to have my lawnmower, zero turn mower. There's a big discussion today in our group about zero turn mower. I don't have a lawnmower. I have a weed eater. Well, how do you cut your grass? Well, I don't have a lot of grass to cut because the sheep are cutting it, and I eat the lawnmower at the end of the year, and it's really tasty. And I don't have to fix the blade on the sheep. I don't have to go have it tuned up. I don't have to have it winterized. I don't have to have a snow blower that I fix all the time. No, I don't have any of those. I don't have any of that. I got sheep. They eat the grass. It looks like a golf course. They fertilize it at the same time. I'm not saying I don't have expenses, but I'm saying I prioritize my time and my money, so I'm spending it with my wife and my son. Yeah. But you can live here for 20, 30, or even 40% cheaper than you do up there if you just plan your life right. Tell me where you live now, how much you spend a month, and I'll tell you what I think would be different in Chile. Yeah. So give me some ideas. What do you spend in a month? What's your monthly outlay that you think? Okay. And I'm going to have a little drambuie while you put those comments in there. So I will tell you, and I tell people this, that most of you spend more on lunch every year than I live on. I live on until this last year, till 2026. Yeah, 25. Yeah. Last year, 25. I lived on $1,000 a month. I started getting Social Security late last year, and that doubled that. So now I'm getting like $1,899. That's what I live on. Okay. I spent a lot more than that on $1,000 every month on lunch. Okay. When I came here to Chile, I came here with $95,000 in savings, we'll call it. Okay. I bought my land and built my house with that. is what I did. Can you do that today? Um, well, yes, you can, but you have to be very frugal, extremely frugal. Prices have gone up. Everybody knows what inflation is. It's the government stealing from you, okay? And that's what they're doing. And that continues. It's here. Oh, God, it's here. It's everywhere. But right now, the world is really in a recession. You're not really hearing a lot of it. I'll tell you a secret. The world's in a recession. And because of that, things are becoming cheaper. So, like the other day, I saw advertisement for lots here for $23,000 each. That's going down. The average, the bottom basement here has been 25. That's for 1 acre. Okay, so I think the market's crashing because we're in a recession. People don't have readily available cash. They do have mortgages here. You can go buy land on a mortgage. I don't know what those rates are. I highly recommend against it. The banks here are more in line with the mafia than they are with banking. It's not uncommon to see 40 or 34% interest on a credit card and you have good credit. Okay. So that's why I don't play their game. You have to have a bank, don't get me wrong. But you play them like they play you, and you play it the right way, is what I'm telling you. Okay. So yeah, that's my take. Come here, live economically. By the way, Abders, if you are interested when you get here in buying a wood stove, let me know. There is a manufacturing company in Osorno. It's owned by friends of mine, mom and pop, and they have a foundry there. They make all their wood stoves custom designed to your desire, or they'll sell you one off the floor. They don't care, and they're phenomenally done, and they're really efficient, and they have wood boilers in the cook stove, so it's really nice. So 12 people in the room, 15 thumbs up, and we've been an hour and 27 minutes. So do you have a question for me? Yeah, if you have a question, raise your hand and then put it on the keyboard and ask me a question, because we're getting long. The other night, the last Sunday, we went 2.5 hours. People were asking me, my my eyeballs were bleeding. I was responding to so many questions, and I'm here to answer your questions. And I'll open the floor up. It doesn't have to be about economics. It can be about real estate. It could be about schools. It could be about food here. And yes, they do have architects and engineers here for hire. We actually have two builders in our group, and I'm trying to get another guy down here. He had just a really sweet gentleman, just a nice guy, and he's wanting to come here. And he had like 3 family members die in the past month, unrelated occurrence. There wasn't an accident; they were all in. It was like here, there, we were really sad. And he is an architect. He's also a builder, and he's also a mechanic. So that's really cool. Um, so those people are available here. We actually have builders here that are gringos that will work with you, and they're fluent in Spanish, and they will coordinate with an architect for you and make sure that you're not getting gringo price taken advantage of. Um, so let's say, Estermo, you want to come here. Okay, when you want to go in our group, what happens? You get in the group, you get Lori's book, The Ultimate Guide to Immigrating Chile, which she's rewriting right now and updating. You have access to all our immigration attorneys, doctors, dentists, mechanics. So you can buy a car in Santiago, which is the cheapest place to buy a vehicle because there's just so many there. So it's just a bigger market. Or you could buy it in Santiago. We have a mechanic here who'll help you. He'll meet you at the airport, pick you up, and drive you and show you cars. And then he'll drop you off at your hotel or your rental property. He's really cool. They're awesome guys. Our builder that we have will work with you as a consultant if you like, or he'll do the whole job turnkey. It's up to you. He'll make sure that you're aware of the materials that are available for selection and where you get them, the different pricing, and he'll make sure that all that stuff is staged. He's also going to make sure that you're on a right schedule so that you can um, make sure that you got your property has been purchased and you have a floor plan and a builder already set and everybody's in line. So as soon as the rain stops, you can start building because you have 3 months of dry season here to get things done when it's not wintertime. That's really important. So you have me here as one of the real estate agents. I've helped four, I think, people buy land here in the past since January. We have I've helped probably 6 families get rentals, including one I'm working with, two I'm working with right now to find rental houses, and we're talking in the $900 range all the way down to $350 range, depending on who you are, what you are. Like some people just want a 2 bedroom, a 1 bedroom house. That's doable. We're helping people get bank accounts once they get here in Chile, which is can be near impossible for a gringo, and having access to your money is very important. We're helping people get find the network and other services to work with amongst our group, so that they can integrate more easily. And let's say you need to buy animals for your farm, we can help you with that. Let's say you come here and your wife's pregnant and you want to have a baby here. We've got members that are having. We have a special group of midwives that kind of lurk around our group that are always there and love working with our gringos to have your baby at home. And they're really experienced and they really know what they're doing and they're really good. So we got that. We're meeting up at a restaurant every 2 to 3 months. Last one we had 43, 49 people at the restaurant. We have members from their early 20s with little kids and 30s all the way to 84 years old are our members in our Chile Expat Family chat group. Are you able to get a loan for a truck easily at a decent rate? Not a decent rate. No. I mean, what are you looking for? I'm not tried. Let's just say that. I bought my Toyota Prado in 2013. It was a 2007, and I bought it for 16,000 or something like that. $18,000, I think it was. Um, I I would not buy a new car. But that's just me. I wouldn't in the U.S. either. They have them here. They have everything that you can imagine and things you've never even heard of. Chinese and Korean and Vietnamese and whatever here. And you could buy those, yeah. And I don't really have the right answer for you that, okay? Flying Crocs 8144. Flying Crocs, yeah. I don't have the right answer for that because I've never tried, okay? Um, Chileans are very conscientious about not being wasteroos. So, and my wife's really caught on to that, which is good. And we're not hoarders or anything, but like, let me tell you, she'll get a bag, like a plastic bag. And I'm like, is this bag trash when you put it in the trash? She said, no, I'm going to wash it out. A Ziploc bag. I'm like, you're going to wash out okay, whatever. Chileans are that way. They don't throw anything away. And their automobiles are a prime example of that. Tractors, yeah, there's another one. So, any more questions? We got a question. 14 people in the room. Now's the time to ask. I'll give you a couple of minutes. There's one. I'll probably pay in cash. Don't want a loan, but just in case. I think, if you had well, let me say this. I could put you together with a banker who would probably give you a loan. I know she would. Yeah. I don't know what the rates are because I've not been down that trail, but we've helped our members get bank accounts. And when they go, I've been there with them at the bank, and she speaks perfect English, but they want me to go. And very nice lady. But anyhow, she wants to get you a credit card. I don't want a credit card. Please get away from me. I don't want a credit card. That's just me. It's all based on your income. You got to prove to them your income, just like in the U.S. It's the same as in the U.S. One of the cool things I did flying Crocs was when I got here, I purchased a nice car, which I considered an exit tool, so that if things went bad in Chile, which for some reason, which I don't, I feel more certain that things will go bad in the former United States before they'll go bad here, that I could find a way across the mountains into Argentina would be no problem. Have you tried to make your own beer yet? Actually, I was making beer in 1988. I used to make a lot. That's when I was back in after I got out of the Navy. I was too poor to buy it, so I made it. And I've made some here, and there are some brew shops that you can go to and get it here. I think Porto Varas has a brew shop. I know Porto Montt does too. Yeah. Any other questions? 16 people, 15 thumbs up. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to try to do it again next Sunday. We've been doing this. This is probably the third or fourth live stream I've done. And I try to pick a good subject. Let me ask you this before I go. What would you like for me to talk about next Sunday? Is there something you would like for me to go research a little bit and come to you guys and give you good answers on my opinion about Chile centered topics? What is something like you would like answered? Okay, I'll wait while you come up with some good questions for me, or a topic of discussion. Who, what, where, how based question would be excellent if you had something like that. I'll tell you something about our group while I'm doing that. We actually have 4 groups: Chile Expat Family chat group and Telegram. There's 2 subgroups. One is in a property investment group where 7 families in that group got together and they bought twice as much land for half as much money, and then they divided it up. We have an off topics group where they talk about sex, drugs, and rock and roll and religion in there. That's so you can figure out who you like in the group, and maybe you could team up with them to go into business. Love Without Borders. Hello. So they that's the other group. And the final group we have is actually in WhatsApp. And in that group is our local group. That's people with boots on the ground in Chile. And those people are trading amongst each other, services, advice. I have a sheep for sale. Anybody want a sheep? I need to rent a mini excavator. Hey, does anybody know a good welder? I need to have a donkey transport it to my farm. Do you know a truck, a guy that'll transport with a horse trailer? Yeah. Has anybody bought any hay recently? That's the type of stuff going on in there, okay? How far south have you gotten? All the way down to Lago General Carrera, down at the Marble Caves. Have you seen anything strange in the sky? No, not really. The Chileans are really big on UFOs here. Love Without Borders. What does a Chile small town look like? Okay, that's a good question. I've actually done some videos on that. Like humanoid. Okay. Private schools versus public schools. The schools here are just as bad as they are in the U.S. That's my short answer. Our boys went to private Catholic school in Puerto Octai, which is run by a foundation. It was free. Yeah, we homeschool. But we finished them off. We came here with 3 children. Two of the olders that came with us. We have 6 children total. They finished school in Chilean school so they could learn Spanish. They'd already graduated high school with their mother, so it was really just a formality to get them to learn about Chilean culture and get a Chilean diploma, and they did, and they didn't have any problems. You can go to a private school, and Abner eyes are tight, 73, 73. You're going to spend $450, $500 a month for a nice private school here. Okay. They have a German school. They have an English school. They have Montessori's. They have Copernicus. Uh, they have every type of school you could imagine. They're like really small craft schools. And um, I'm not a schoolologist. Lori really is because she was our teacher for homeschooling. So, yeah, so schools, and it's a big cultural thing in Chile. What school do your children go to? And people didn't know how to react when we said, "Oh, they go to the best school in Chile." Yeah, which one is that? Homeschool, and it was. But again, they finished out junior and senior year, our two last ones, and Thomas is totally homeschooled. He went there for a while, but it did fly so well. What potential and small business does Southern Chile need? Anything food related, you'll knock it out of the park. American food, North American food. TD Mal. TDMAUL. Yeah, Mal. Anything food is knock it out of the park. Are you an auto mechanic? Knock it out of the park. Do you know how to build and fix and repair computers? Knock it out of the program. Knock it out of the park. Do you know how to build homes? Knock it out of the park. Plumbing, electrical, mechanics are big things here. Tool and die, knock it out of the park. Everything that's the same in the U.S. Yeah. But food is really an easy peasy lemon squeezy thing because my mom always taught me, and I cook, and I like to think I cook really well because I had a catering business, but I've worked cooking for a living for a little bit. Any man that can cook will never go hungry. So if you can come here and make hush puppies, corn dogs, real hamburgers like in the U.S., uh, things that they don't have here. They don't have a lot of that fast food here, and you don't need to necessarily do fast food. You could do a meat and three. If you know what a meat and three is, raise your hand. Say, yeah, I know what a meat and three is. Um, eh, but if you did a meat and three here, it wouldn't be poor man's food, but it'd be every man's food. You could knock it out of the park. That's really would be big thing. Um, so those are the businesses that I would go towards. Okay. Um, Homeschooling is the only way to go, says Goldfish. They get it so fast when it's all at their face. That's right. Flying Crocs 8144. How taxes work for Americans down there? Well, if you're making money in the U.S., you're going to pay taxes in the U.S. So that's it. Okay. There's some gray area with being taxed down here and making a living here and paying in the U.S. Uh, in I don't know the exact details. I think there's a 3-year grace period, but factually, I everybody that I know that works here doesn't pay taxes in the U.S. Not because they're not supposed to, but because they don't. How are they going to know? Yeah, unless you're making a gazillion dollars. If you're bringing money from the U.S. to Chile, you're going to pay taxes on the U.S. You're not going to pay taxes to Chile on that money. I bring my Social Security in and my pension in. I don't pay taxes to Chile on that, and they're happy with that because I'm bringing it here, and it's making the pot taller here for them. Okay, because I'm spending that money here at restaurants. I'm buying gasoline. I'm employing Chileans to do work for me every now and then, that sort of thing. And that's a good thing for Chile too. A lot of the immigrants, and I'm an immigrant, but a lot of the immigrants in the United States, they get jobs and they get paid to do that legally or not legal. We're not questioning that right now, but and they take that money and they send it back to Haiti or they send it back to Mexico or Guatemala or wherever. In Chile, our members of our group all come here and they're bringing their money here and investing here. That's really a big thing. So yeah. Uh, Biggest cultural differences. How easy is it to make friends. Really easy. Chileans are really friendly. Home deliveries from online shopping. It's about 7 to 14 days, depending on what you're ordering from Spamazon. What convenience do you miss the most from the U.S.? Chileans don't have customer service down right yet. They're kind of on Chilean time, and I don't like that. It's not really bad. Um, I I've gotten chilled out, so I don't expect to get whatever I order online here the next day. That's not going to happen. And actually, I don't care about it anymore because I'm not a thing guy. But let's say I need building products or steel. I'm getting ready to do a couple of big projects. I'll tell you what they are. I'm getting ready to put a big deck on the side of our house, a sunroom. My wife wants a sunroom. We're building a sunroom. Yeah. And that's going to be a big to do. It's going to be I-beams, concrete footers, the whole thing. And the local hardware store is selling me, and delivering to me all of that product here. So I really don't have to worry about it because they're actually doing that. He's an engineer, the owner is, and I horse traded with him. It's a long story, but because of that, I have all that here. It is kind of nice to pick up the phone and have Chinese. I miss real Chinese. Chile doesn't have real Chinese. If you know how to cook Chinese, come here. You'll knock it out of the park. That's the biggest cultural difference is all the mixes of other foods and cultures here. Yeah. I miss tractors. I want a tractor. Tractors here are very expensive. What is the harder part of adjusting to the cultural language? Learn to speak Spanish. I speak Spanish. I do it miserably, but I do. What are taxes for retirees? Nothing. Well, 19% on anything you buy. You buy a sandwich, it's 19%. You buy like a hamburger or a cheeseburger or fish or whatever, it's 19%. Your meals. If you go to the grocery store, it's all 19%. Everything you buy has a 19% VAT tax on it. You buy a 6-pack of beer, it's 19%. And trust me, beer, wine, and liquor, they got all that here. Whatever beer, wine, liquor you like, if you do that. Okay. So that's about it for me as far as retired. If you have, not every property that you could buy is tax free, but even if you do have taxes on your house, they're significantly lower than they are no matter where you are in the U.S. Okay. Do they have flock cameras down there? They have them in the cities. Okay. But it's not like up there flock cameras. Here it's a little different. But when I was in South Carolina, 2009, I had to appraise a fusion center, which was underneath. It's a secret place, but that's where all those cameras were, and those were owned by the government, not by a private company. Flock is a private company. They don't have flock cameras here yet. Can you vote in Chile? I won't ask you for your political thought, but if you have the right to vote. Yes, I have the right to vote. Here's the problem with that, Yurkos. I don't want to vote. I'm not a Chilean citizen. I'm a permanent resident. I wouldn't mind voting in just the local elections since I'm paying local taxes on my car and some other things. But I really don't think that unless you're a citizen, you should vote personally. But the really interesting thing is they make me vote. And they make Thomas vote because he's 18 and Lori vote too. We must vote. If you don't vote, you get fined, and they can and have and will put you in jail. Yeah, you'll have to go before a judge. Yeah. What is the treatment of animals? Are there a lot of strays? No, not anymore. Chile has gotten really serious about spaying and neutering because they had a real problem with stray dogs in Chile killing people, children and old people. And, oh, whose dog is this that just ripped the face off my 4-year-old? Well, that's a stray. So what do you do? So what do restaurant owners usually make there? Chandler Moyer. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure they're doing quite well. Especially if you build your own restaurant, you don't rent it. There's a lot of destination restaurants here, like Uncle Texas I went to in Puerto Varas. It was 6 kilometers outside Puerto Varas, out in the countryside. But we went there and it was packed when we were there. They said on Friday, Saturday night, they have a line around the building. So good food is going to sell good here. And anything different than the standard Chilean completo. What is a completo? It's a hot dog with everything in the kitchen sink on it. Okay, they have empanadas. They have colaciones, which is like a soup. Okay, and they have sopa. They have they have several Chilean things, and they're all good, but none of them are you. You're not going to find a lot of restaurants that sell unique things. They're going to sell fried salmon or trout um, or just broiled and merluce or fish. They'll sell you a pork chop. There are some steak joints here, and they're pretty good. I'll give them credit. You'll have restaurants that sell hamburgers. And Chileans who's just in the past 4 or 5 years got into this hamburger competition because they discovered hamburgers can taste really good if you know what you're doing. And so they're always who's got the best hamburger in Chile? My favorite is Boss Burger in Santiago, or not Santiago, in Osorno. It's a little dumpy, one room joint. They don't have but 2 tables. It's awesome burgers. Yeah. I was born in Chile, but I grew up in New Zealand. I'm married to a Kiwi. Cool. I'm a data scientist, and I've been thinking about moving back to Chile and buying some land down in south to build a holiday home. Well, I'm going to tell you, Javier Moran. I'm sorry, Morande. Yeah. Uh, I'm sorry. My eyes are really tired, and I'm very embarrassed I can't read your name correctly, and I apologize. Uh, there are no less than 4, maybe 6 Chileans in our group that are in a similar situation as you. We have a family from Australia that are just moving back now. I don't want to say who they are because they got to tell their family yet. But we found that Australia and New Zealand have become tyrannical governments. In Australia, we found out directly from this family, and they work in government, that they now can arrest your 12-year-old child without reason, without a warrant, without you being your knowledge, without the child is not allowed to contact you, and they can hold them indefinitely without telling you, without a hearing. It's like, oh, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking like Russia point two or North Korea. That's what's going on in New Zealand and Australia right now. Their governments have gone full on tyranny, just like the UK has. It's a fun thing, You just take everybody's rights away. The UK's really gone bonkers on that. We have members in our group from the UK that are here now. We have members in our group from New Zealand and Australia now, and to use their words, they escaped. In New Zealand, one of our members was telling us they just bought beautiful properties, like 6, 7 hectares. They were telling us that you no longer own your land in New Zealand. The government has now come out that everybody rents their land. And if you don't behave, they'll take your land away. And they're doing that. And these people have experienced this, and they said, okay, we're going to sell our land as quick as we can because they could take it from them. And then they left. And that's what we did. And we know 1, 2, 3 families from New Zealand like that. Two families from Australia. One's here, 3. One's here right now. I would hate to vote. I want to be invisible as possible. Yeah. You got to be invisible. The treatment of animals is very kind here, by the way. They're doing the spaying neutering thing. I already told you that, but overall, Chileans are animal lovers overall. Yeah. Let's see here. Juan says, at the moment, yes. Okay. Yeah, so come on, join my group there, Javier. Yeah, join the group, Chile Expat Family Chat Group. You can get me the let's see, I'll put it in here. At Jim Dorchak in Chile Expat Family Chat Group. What does it cost? It's $100 to join Chile Expat Family Chat Group. There is $5 a month. So the first payment, they're in half your payment. So it'd be $130 to join. There's no profanity. There are no anonymous people. There's no proselytizing. We have every religion and no religion in there. There's no anonymous people. I already say that, but that's kind of, and the group's private. Yeah. Okay. Do they force you to vote for someone? Do they force you to vote for some? There's a write-in option. Yeah. We've gone in there. We're like, okay, who do we vote for? We don't even know who these people are, and they're forcing us to vote. So you can go in there and say, just mess up your ballot, and they throw it away. But you voted, and you have to put your national ID in their hand as well. How much you need to start a restaurant? Chandler, you're asking me a good question, but I don't know the answer. I would say it's less than what it is in the U.S. Okay, the equipment here is going to be cheaper, I think, than it is in the U.S. Your deep fat fryers, your griddle, your gas range, and all that stuff. There is a game that you have to play to get your health approval, which is the same game you have to go through in the U.S. But Chandler Moyer, what do you cook? I want to know what you think about cooking, man. Tell me. That's the question, and I'll tell you if it'll go. Because if you have something unique and you can cook it here, Southern style barbecue, man. If you ever been in the South, I don't know if you're in the South, say, hey, I'm in the South. But if you're in the South and you're hearing this script, if you ever heard of a fish camp, if you did that here in Chile, you'd be a millionaire. Knock it out of the park. You go into fish camp and they give you these trays like you're in public school or prison, and there's coleslaw. You order the captain's platter, and it'll come with a fish fillet of catfish. You would do like salmon here or merluce or conger eel, and then fries, oysters, a little crab, maybe some shrimp, hush puppies, green beans, and it comes with a sweet tea. Man, that's cheap food. Cheap food. You knock it out of the park. Yeah. CC Blue. I know the off-gridders live quite modestly, but I had to rent, own, pay, power, water, food, etc. How much are they talking about and all per month for two people? Not a whole lot. What does that mean? The family that was just here today, they're borrowing my chainsaw. They better give me my chainsaw back this week too, or I'm going to be upset. Anyways, they're borrowing one of my chainsaws. They've got a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house with a big living room and kitchen and a den area too, wash machine and dryer. The water's free. They have to pay $20 a month for their power, I think, and they have to buy their own firewood. That's why they're borrowing my chainsaw. They pay $500 a month for a 3-bedroom house in the compo. Yeah. What was the thing on spayed and neutered dogs again? Oh, I missed that. What you said. Chile has a law that they are making you now spay or neuter your dogs, because they used to have a real problem with dogs. Not cats so much, but dogs. What do I mean? Well, you go out and you drive into Puerto Octai, which had about 4,000 people when I got here. It's got about 9,000 people now. Puerto Octai's never had a murder in recorded history, okay? You go in there and there would be a dog and its leg is at a 90-degree angle from the way it should be, and it's dragging, it's got a hole in its abdomen and its guts are behind it, and it's walking across, and you'll see it like that for days. Yeah. You had problems with people that were getting bit by dogs and little kids. And every year you read in the news that 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 6-year-old got his face ripped off in Santiago by a dog, and it's really bad. They don't have rabies here. Chile is a rabies-free country with dogs, okay? The creepy thing is that they have bats here, and the bats have rabies. So now they're kind of iffy on that. So if you get bit by a dog, they make you get your rabies shot. Okay, somebody. Yeah. CC Blue. I don't live modestly, buddy. I live high on the hog. I'm fat. I live a better life than I'd say 90% of the people in the U.S. do. Even those people making $1 million a year, I live better, cleaner, safer, freer, cheaper, and I don't work and I have no stress. That no stress, that's about on the meter. That's like a 90. That the quality of life that just goes boom. I have no stress, man. I do what I want to do when I want to do. If I don't want to get up till 11, I don't. I never do that. I mean, I got things to do that I want to do. So, will there be a way to avoid that? I want to breed. No, you can breed your dog. You just have to let them know you're breeding the dog. So, like border collies or big breeds, golden retrievers, they have them all here. Chileans love dogs. Javier, I've always been so curious about New Zealand and its current situation. If it is a country that is worth moving, you got to be extremely wealthy to move to New Zealand. Yurkos, it's like you got to make 450 grand a year is what I was told to get in the door. Chill. Okay. It says Chandler. Okay. Chili. You're going to make chili? That's something that I'm not sure how it would fly. They don't know what it is. I tell you what else they don't know what it is. Breakfast. Chilean for a breakfast for Chilean is black coffee with a dry piece of bread. This like a stale piece of bread. That's what they give you in the hospital. They're like, okay, where's breakfast? Well, that was breakfast. I was like, okay. But like if you made sausage biscuits here, right? Or you made lunch with chili dogs, man, you'd knock it out of the park. Feral dog issue comparable to native reservations, Southwest U.S. Really, that's sad. Yeah, so I didn't know that, but it's cleaned up. You thought, well, it's got to take a while, but it's really. It used to be you'd go into Port Alacti. I would go into Port Alacti, and there'd be 10 dogs around you, and they get in little fights amongst themselves. Especially if you were like walking with like an ice cream cone, they want some of it. And they're get a little aggressive. So they brought in the neutering thing, and it's really moderated that quite a bit. So I really appreciate everybody that was here tonight. We've been here for 2 hours and 2 minutes. And I want to say thank you for all the thumbs up. Very kind, very generous. If you have a question, get it in really quick because I'm going to end it here in a few minutes. I'll kind of jibber jab a little bit longer so you can put one in there. But if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do me a favor. Have your cat and dog subscribe on their personal device, and their children and your cousins, and subscribe so that we can help our YouTube algorithms. Please put comments in there. I really appreciate that. I love my Chilean commenters as well. I do get an occasional nasty comment, and that's a totally different topic, but Chileans are just wonderful people, and they're very welcoming, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Estermo. I really appreciate you being here. Again, I need to tell you that my channel is not designed to be entertaining, particularly. It's supposed to be informative. Informative so that you can make an adult decision about whether moving to Chile is right or wrong for you. I'm not here to convince you. I'm convinced. I've been here 13 years. So it's hard for me because I love it here. The people are so kind and generous, and they're welcoming. It's very easy to make friends here. Very easy. And one of the biggest things that you don't really hear a lot about is how spectacularly beautiful Chile is. You drive from Santiago, or from the furthest point north all the way south. You have the Andes on your left hand side coming south. and the Pacific coast on your right hand side. There's a little mountain range there too, and it's just beautiful. It's breathtakingly beautiful. I don't particularly like the desert, but it's beautiful. And all the way down south to where we are, I still pull over today after 13 years here, and I still take pictures. I don't know why I take pictures because I can see it. I'm going to see it tomorrow, but it's still phenomenally, spectacularly, awesomely beautiful. And if you have ever thought about moving to Chile or a foreign country, and we're on your list, our short list, uh, I really recommend that you try our Chile Expat Family chat group. You're not in. You can go in for 6 months and go out and come back. There's not an additional $100 to rejoin. You just have to up your dues and you're in. But we have a really good family and a really good group of people that are here helping each other. And yes, I sell real estate. I'm not going to lie to you, and that helps Thomas get a new truck or a used truck so he can start doing his business, and that's those commissions are nice for me. Those are little windfalls to say the least. But I do work and I do get paid, and but our members have been very satisfied. One of the nicest, greatest things about being in the Chile Expat Family chat group is it's not just me; it's all our other members that are here, and you can talk to them. So you can find out if I'm really puffing you smoke or what's the truth. You can private message them. So like I'll meet our other members at our meetups and they'll say, you know what, such and such called me or texted me or whatever from Canada or the UK or Estonia or Russia or New Zealand or wherever, the United States, and we talk for an hour. They don't get paid for that, and they are more than willing to help you out. And then when you get here, we have uh, a wonderful group of families throughout Chile, all the way Santiago, which is 12 hours north, to 2 days south down to Coyhaique, 3 hours south. And all those people are there to help you out as well. So, one big thing, because I know you're wanting to know. I no longer put real estate videos, real estate for sale, and I don't list properties, but I have sellers coming to me wanting to list properties. I don't do that. I let them advertise in my group. That's in the group and it stays in the group only because YouTube, I don't make any money off that. Membership has its privileges. Also, every member that I've sold property to or showed property to in the past 5 years, I've made videos of those properties and I interview them while we're at, hey, what do you think of this piece of land? Oh, that's a piece of junk, or I never pay that. Oh, it's a great property. The price is good, but I want to look at another one. I want to look at a river. I want to, whatever. You see all those videos, they're there. That history is there. So you can see what other people have already been through. And that's what the whole thing is about. It's about being there to help you get here or not get here. The best thing I can do is help you not move here. Look, Chile's not right for my family. Okay, that's fine. I understand that. But you didn't waste $100,000 coming here and then find that out. That's what I'm here for. So I'd love to see you in our group. Love to talk to you. It's $100 to join. It's $5 a month and half your payment. So it's $130. There's an interview. No profanity. No anonymous people. If you can't say it with your name behind it, don't say it. No profanity, no anonymous people, no processing. And the group is a private group, and we're here to help you. So unless somebody has a pressing question, they're going to say right now, I'm going to end this live stream, and it's 2 hours and 8 minutes you guys got on my time tonight. And I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. If you want to private message me in Telegram and tell me some other topics, I think we had one was about schools. And what was the other one? Schools. Let me see. I'll scroll. How many owners make? Well, either way, if you want me to do a video on anything here in Chile, let me know. And Lori Thomas and I will go do a nice video for you. Okay. So anyways, God bless you Sunday evening. I appreciate you being here. And for my family, your family, ciao from Chile Expat Family.